Former Department of Justice official Robert Driscoll on all of that. You know, Robert, I pounced on the market reaction to this, and if you'll indulge me, I kind of read the markets, and you read law. So the markets seem to be saying there's no there, so there's nothing impeachable here. Are they getting ahead of themselves? What do you think?
Well, I mean, there'll be private testimony this afternoon of classified information, but from what was public, I think the market's reaction is probably appropriate. I don't think there was anything that happened today that makes it more likely there'd be some kind of grand action against President Trump. And in fact, to me, what I took from it is that, you know, when you're investigating high-level people, be it Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, it's inherently political. There's pressure coming from all sides. And, you know, it's hard, in my mind, to distinguish some of Trump's actions from some of the Obama Justice Department's actions that Comey testified about. I mean, he was directed by Loretta Lynch to use the word matter instead of an investigation, which is clearly an attempt to minimize.
Yeah, that one did surprise me because she's obviously trying to say we don't see anything here, and it comes not too long after we had learned that there was a great deal of concern on the part of Director Comey at the time on that to have the administration, the Obama administration, either put out something on this or say something on this, and they opted not to. I guess what I'm asking is whether it's that matter or this matter, whether there is anything here that would warrant continued either hearings, investigations, protracted sort of summer-long events like we saw with Watergate in 1973, in either case.
Well, I mean, it ends up being a political question.
Yeah.
I mean, legally, the beginning and end is Trump's the president. I mean, he could end the investigation if he wanted to. It might not be politically wise to do it, but it's not like there's going to be some grand jury that's going to indict Donald Trump. So the real question becomes, does this raise the public's ire or in the political sphere enough to warrant someone to move forward on impeachment that would have traction in a Republican House and then a trial in a Republican Senate? And from what we've seen now, I think things have probably gotten, if anything, marginally better for President Trump today so far than marginally worse.
So when you hear what you heard today about the president making it very, very clear he'd prefer a lot of this go away, where is the distinction between talking like that and something that could be deemed obstructing justice? Or where, I know they call it a smoking gun, but where would you draw that line?
I mean, I think it's a fine line, and clearly Comey was suggesting that, you know, there's obviously an intimidating factor being in the White House and being alone, that it's important. But similarly, I think the timing is important, and that this meeting was the day after General Flynn had been terminated. And in any public corruption prosecution that FBI and DOJ are looking at, they will sometimes consider whether the person has already left office as a factor in whether or not to prosecute them. And so I think, you know, an innocent or a more innocent way, it's probably poor judgment for Trump to raise it at all, but a more innocent way to characterize it, which I'm sure his lawyers would be to say, you know, look, I've fired the guy, essentially is what he was saying. He's paid enough of a price. He's out of government. Could you see your way clear to let it go? And that would, frankly, be appropriate to take that into consideration if you're the DOJ. Now, if that's perceived by Comey as, I'm going to fire you if you don't, you know, tank this investigation,
right,
that's another matter. But I think it's hard to read that from what was said. I think the president sounds like he was intentionally trying to be cautious, saying it was his hope. And similarly, you know, Comey didn't pull the fire alarm leaving that meeting either, in terms of, you know, either responding to the president directly or by going to others and saying, you know, he thought a crime had been committed. So I think that it's muddled enough that, to me, this does not seem like the kind of thing that is going to get much traction in terms of a serious charge like impeachment.
Interesting. Thank you, sir, very, very much.